Hello everyone and welcome back to another Top Korean Movies by Genre video. As always, I'm your host Ian from EonTalk, and today's Top K Movies content will be on the best Korean sexy movies. There's a wide array of genres available in Korean cinema, ranging from light-hearted comedies to downright dark and grimy thrillers. We've covered many different genres before, but today we'll be taking a look and ranking 10 K movies of the hot and steamy, sexy, erotic genre. Please note, because this video is going over a more mature topic, it may not be suitable for the younger audience. Please take this into consideration before proceeding. And also, as with all of my top 10 videos, this list will be based on my personal taste. That being said, let's get right into today's video on Top 10 Sexy Korean Movies. Starting off the list, the number 10 film is the most recently released film on this list, Serve the People. Serve the People was directed by Chang Chul-soo, who also directed Secretly Greatly and starred Yeonwoo-jin, Ji-an, and Cho Sung-ha. The film was based on the novel of the same name and depicts a romance between a model soldier and the young wife of the division commander and the inner conflicts of the two. The synopsis is as follows. Moo Gwang is a model soldier who becomes the personal cook at the division commander's home. His sole ambition is to climb the ladder of success for the sake of his wife and child. However, while the commander is away on a business trip, Moo Gwang finds himself entangled in the dangerous seduction of the commander's wife, Suryeon. Caught between his goals, principles, and the forbidden love he yearns for, Moo Gwang faces a sizzling temptation he can't resist. Next, the number 9 film is the 2018 released film, High Society. Directed by Pyeonhyuk, who directed another highly sexual film titled The Scarlet Letter, High Society saw the likes of Park Hae-il, Soo-ae, Yoon Jae-moon, Lam Hee-ran, Lee Jin-wook, and more. Although The Scarlet Letter is also one for the sexual movies book, I refrain from showcasing more than one film from the same director on this list and prefer to introduce relatively newer movies. Anywho, the synopsis is as follows. Taek-jun is an economics professor who is both popular and respected among students. Through a chance encounter, he finds himself running for the position of a promising rookie politician in the parliamentary elections. Meanwhile, his wife and the deputy director of the Future Art Museum, Soo-yeon, aims to ascend to the position of director through a reopening exhibition. However, it is revealed that behind Soo-yeon's art dealings and Taek-jun's political campaign lies a dark alliance between the Future Group and the Minjuk Party. The couple faces a crisis as they stand on the verge of entering the perfect upper-class society. At number 8, we have the 2014 film Obsessed. Obsessed was directed by Kim Dae-woo, who has a few other 18+ films in his filmography and starred Song Seung-eun, Im Ji-yeon, Cho Ye-jung, and Won Ju-wan. I was surprised to learn of Im Ji-yeon's role in this film, as she recently rose to even more fame following the Netflix series The Glory. Obsessed was her feature film debut and is also most recently starred in the K-drama Lies Hidden in My Garden. Anyways, the synopsis of Obsessed is as follows. Jin Pyong is an esteemed military officer with a successful career, and his wife, Suk-jin, harbors ambitions of making her husband a general. One day, Woo-jin, a subordinate of Jin Pyong, and his wife, Ka-eun, move into the neighborhood of Jin Pyong, and Jin Pyong feels an intense attraction towards Ka-eun from their first encounter. They both carry a secret that they can't share with anyone, and Jin Pyong becomes uncontrollably infatuated with Ka-eun. The two individuals, who should have never met, find themselves entangled in a scandalous affair. Moving along, at number 7, we have the 2015 film The Treacherous. Directed by Min Gyu-dong, who also directed All About My Wife and Her Story, The Treacherous was not only a good sexy film, but also a good historical drama as well. Starring Ju Ji-yoon, Kim Kang-woo, Chon Ho-jin, Im Ji-yeon, and more, Treacherous revolves around Joseon's tyrant, Yeon-san, who exploits the populace for his own personal pleasures, his seemingly loyal retainer who controls him in all court dealings, and a woman who seeks vengeance. The synopsis is as follows. Tiansan appoints Im Sung-jae and his father to the position of retainer, and they are ordered to forcibly gather beauties from all over Chosun to please Tiansan. Im Sung-jae seizes this opportunity to indiscriminately capture noblewomen and commoners alike. Tani, a beautiful woman from the lowest class, saves Im Sung-jae from danger and then begs him to take her to the palace. However, Im Sung-jae refuses for his own personal reasons. Nevertheless, Tani soon enters the palace and Im Sung-jae becomes conflicted as the Tiansan lusts after the beautiful Tani. The number 6 movie goes to the film that released in 2012, The Concubine. This movie was directed by Kim Dae-seung, who directed The Magician, and the film featured the cast lineup of Cho Ye-jung, Kim Dong-wook, and Kim Min-jun. This is another periodic piece set in Chosun, and the brief synopsis is as follows. Hwayeon is a daughter of a nobleman and finds herself caught in between a tragic love triangle. One of the men is her true love, Kwon-yu, who's a servant, and the other is a man on the totally opposite end of the social status, a prince who's to take the throne, Prince Sung-won, and the story of the trio unfolds. Before moving into the top 5, I'd just like to give a quick shout out to ExpressVPN. If you would like to access more Korean movies through streaming services, I highly suggest using ExpressVPN to connect to servers from other locations and gain access to thousands of more content. By using ExpressVPN, you can bypass geo-restrictions, meaning you can be from anywhere around the world and access the Korean and other countries' servers. If you would like to access more Korean content like movies, dramas, and shows, be sure to sign up for ExpressVPN using my link in the descriptions or expressvpn.com/EonTalk and get 49% off an annual plan plus 3 extra months for free. Better yet, if you sign up and don't like the service, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, meaning you can cancel anytime within the first 30 days. And now, the top 5. Starting off the top 5, the number 5 movie is the 2014 release film Scarlet Innocence. Scarlet Innocence was directed by Im Pil-sung, who co-directed Doomsday Book with the amazing director Kim Ji-hoon. Starring the likes of Jung Woo-sung, Lee Som, and Park So-young, Scarlet Innocence is another hot and steamy film with highly sexual scenes. The synopsis is as follows. 8 years prior, university professor Hakyu moved to a small town following a scandal and worked as a literature instructor at a culture center. There, he falls for a young woman, Togi, who works at an old amusement park. Once Hakyu is reinstated at the university, he leaves the small town, leaving behind Togi as well. In current time, Hakyu is a popular writer, but his daughter blames him for her mother committing suicide, and on top of the misfortune, Hakyu also starts to lose his eyesight due to a disease. At the same time, Sejong moves in next to Hakyu, but what he doesn't realize is that Sejong is actually Togi, the woman he betrayed 8 years ago. Moving on to the number 4 spot, the number 4 movie goes to the oldest film on this list, A Frozen Flower. This is yet another periodic drama and was directed by Yuha, who not only directed another sexy film titled Marriage is a Crazy Thing, but also hits like A Dirty Carnival and Gangnam Blues. Starring in A Frozen Flower were Cho In-sung, Ju Jin-mo, and Song Ji-hyo, and is set in the Goryeo dynasty. The detailed synopsis is as follows. Hong-nim, the leader of the royal guard, faces internal and external crises as he remains vigilant in protecting the vulnerable king. As tensions rise and unknown assassins threaten the king's life, a significant decision is made. With no choice but to comply, Hong-nim follows the king's order to engage in a proxy relationship with the queen to secure an heir to the throne. On a fateful night filled with shock and desire, the destinies of these 3 individuals spiral into chaos. Thus begins their epic story entangled in forbidden love and the tumultuous currents of history. Coming in at number 3 of my list of top Korean sexy films is the movie that released in 2010, The Housemaid. Directed by Im Sang-soo, the director of the films A Good Liar's Wife and The Taste of Money, The Housemaid is a thrilling sexy film starring Jeon Do-yeon, Lee Jung-jae, Yoon Ye-jung, and Seo-woo. The film is a remake of the 1960 film of the same title, and the synopsis is as follows. Uni lived a cheerful life working at a restaurant after her divorce. However, she finds a new job as a housemaid at a grand mansion of an affluent upper-class family. And thus, her life with the seemingly perfect master of the house, Hun, the sophisticated mistress who's pregnant with twins, Hera, the adoring 6-year-old, Nami, and the elderly headmaid, Pyeongshik, begins. One day, Uni becomes enticed by Hun's secret advances and they engage in a physical relationship, experiencing instinctual happiness. However, their tranquility in the mansion is disrupted when Pyeongshik begins to suspect their secretive relationship. And now just 2 movies left, the top 2 sexual films of Korean cinema. First, the number 2 film is a 2012 movie, Eungyo, aka A Muse. Directed by Jung Ji-woo, who also directed the films Black Hearted and Tunin for Love, A Muse starred the leads Park Hae-il, Kim Moo-yeol, and Kim Go-eun. Like how Obsessed was the debut film for Im Ji-yeon, A Muse was the debut work for actress Kim Go-eun. And I must say, what an incredible debut. It must not be easy deciding to go with the sexual film for one's debut role, but as mentioned, Kim Go-eun knocked it out of the park with her performance. Also, Park Hae-il's role is also highly notable, as he played an older man in the film but also killed the role. Definitely one of the best films released in the early 2010s, and that's saying a lot as there were so many great works during the same time. The synopsis is as follows. Lee Jeok-hyo is a well-respected poet and college professor in his 70s. Caring for his needs is his assistant and student, Seo Ji-woo, who hopes to follow in his mentor's path as a poet and writer. One day, 17-year-old high school student Eungyo appears on the doorsteps of the professor's home, and from then on, a complicated and volatile relationship develops between the elderly poet, his protege, and the mature high school student. And finally, the number 1 Korean sexy film. The number 1 spot goes to the 2016 release film that's one of the most artistically shot, beautifully written movies in Korean cinema, The Handmaiden. The Handmaiden was directed by one of the top directors of Korea, Park Chan-wook. To list all of his other masterpieces would take too long, but to give some examples, Joint Security Area, Oldboy, and more recently, Decision to Leave, to name just a few. Starring in The Handmaiden were Kim Min-hee, Kim Tae-ri, and Ha Jong-woo. And as I mentioned Im Ji-yeon and Kim Go-eun prior, I gotta give recognition to Kim Tae-ri for her role in this. This was her feature film debut, and my oh my was she great in her role. Although the character of Suki had prerequisites of highly sexual scenes in the casting announcement, Kim Tae-ri put all the side eyes aside and pursued the auditions. And thank goodness she did, as she shot up the fame ladder following this film. The synopsis of The Handmaiden is as follows. Hideko, a noble young lady who lost her parents, lives under the strict protection of her guardian uncle. And into the life of the lonely young lady, whose only daily routine involves reading books in her uncle's library, a new handmaiden arrives in her life. And thus she begins to rely on the seemingly innocent handmaiden. However, the handmaiden's true identity is that of a skilled pickpocketer and an orphan girl named Suki. Suki is a part of an elaborate plan to deceive Hideko, who is set to inherit a vast fortune by making her fall in love with the Count. A captivating tale of deceit, seduction, and betrayal unfolds as they try to deceive each other to gain both money and affection. And that's it for today's video on Top Korean Sexy Movies. Some films that you believe should have made it on this list may not have been included, but please remember that this list was based on my personal recommendations. Nonetheless, I'd love to hear which movies you believe are deserving of the title Top Korean Sexy Movies, as well as movies on this list that you've seen and enjoyed, so please leave a comment or join in on the discussions on the EonTalk Telegram group, linked in the descriptions. If you enjoyed this video and would like more similar content, be sure to like and subscribe, and be sure to sign up for ExpressVPN using my link to access more Korean movies and dramas. Once again, thank you to everyone that watched till the end, and I'll see you guys in the next one.